Hey everybody! I thought I'd do a process video and like kind of keep it a Patreon exclusive, I guess, because I still feel bad having like I've almost had my Patreon for I think almost a year, and I feel like I still don't have like that much stuff worth having a reason to have a Patreon, even if it is only like 15 bucks that I'm getting. I still feel like I should put more stuff on here and make it like kind of cool. So I don't know, maybe not a lot of people will even bother watching process videos because it's not like everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay, but I don't know, maybe in the future, someone might subscribe or pledge or whatever, and they'll see it and they're like, oh, that's cool, that was worth my $1 a month alone. But yeah, so I'm animating in Opentoonz again. I think I definitely like Opentoonz better than Krita for like longer stuff. I still definitely love Krita for like doing kind of GIF loop animations, but man, the more I use Opentoonz, the more I'm like, this is a actual professional software. They had advertised it as such because it had been like a version of Opentoonz had been used at like Studio Ghibli, and I think in like Futurama or something, and some other stuff. But it's like not a lie. It literally has everything. Like seriously, it's, in my opinion, I think it's better than Adobe Animate. Maybe not as streamlined for puppet animation as Adobe Animate, and maybe slightly not as well. Okay, definitely not as optimized as Adobe Animate. But like, if you have a decent computer, and I mean, I have a laptop, and I'm able to animate all this. It works. Maybe it can't handle like 50-second animation as well as Adobe Animate would. But also, this is I'm drawing on raster layers, so this isn't, so it's taking up more memory because it's raster and not vector. But oh look, I'm already inking stuff. Yeah, that was pretty fast. I do apologize. I know lining stuff maybe isn't always the funnest to watch, but it definitely takes me like 80% of the time, so that's just how it be, I guess. Yeah, so I think this actually took me a little over 20 hours, like looking at all the video footage that I had saved, which I felt was a little bit slower because normally in 20 hours I can get like 8 seconds worth of animation, but maybe because this was a bit like more subtle animation. I mean, it's not as subtle as I definitely want, but it is a bit slower and a bit more subtle, and I think that's kind of harder for me, because you have more frames that are closer together, and you kind of have to work on the timing a bit more than if it were fast. Because with something fast, you can put like one in between or two in betweens or something between two keyframes, and they don't even have to be that well. Like, you don't have to time it out that well or tweak too much because it's going by so fast. So there's not much to like. There's not much room for error, I guess. That's what I'm saying. But I do want to like animate stuff a bit slower and a bit more subtle. Just like, certain moods you definitely gotta do that. And I know like for this song, it definitely doesn't call for a energetic, upbeat sort of movement. So I did try to keep it a bit slower and a bit more like, not chill, a bit more, yeah, I guess just subtle. Let's see. So in a couple of minutes, you'll see, I think this is the first time I bothered shading something, like actually shading something in Opentoonz. And like, if you know me, I'm not a super big fan of like node editors, but the node editor in Opentoonz isn't like too bad. Like, you just kind of like need to figure out how to link things up so that they work properly. And I mean, in reality, I just like Googled a tutorial by Noble Frugal. I think that's his name. He has like a green apple icon, but he's done a lot of good Opentoonz tutorials, I think. And there was just like one tutorial he did for shading, and I just needed to know how to set up a matte, what do you call it, like a matte layer or a matte effect, which is, it's just kind of annoying because I hate that some programs call it a matte, but other programs, like, it's literally just a clipping layer, my shading layer is supposed to be clipped to the, the color layer below it. But I guess, Opentoonz, like other software, some other software, calls it a matte layer. So if you ever get confused, just know that a matte layer is the same thing as like a clipping layer or whatever. But I kind of I thought it might be convenient that to just show you the effects editor or the node editor like overview that I had for how to shade something, like just how to connect things. And I didn't bother setting the shade layer to like a multiply mode because I actually did. I tried it on multiply, and that does kind of like slow down your computer a bit more because it's kind of a heavy effect, like having your layer not be a normal blending mode. But I actually really liked it just being a solid dark blue, which is kind of like what I had in my preliminary sketch that I posted a while ago. But yeah, which I think is a good a good thing to have like little preliminary sketches, especially because I can listen to the, like in this case, because it's like a little 5-second clip from a song, I can like listen to that song on loop and kind of get the mood of the song while I'm sketching. But listening to music while I'm doing rough animation and stuff, it's just really hard. I cannot listen to music while I'm doing the early stages of an animation. Once I'm lining, like right here, like maybe like 3 minutes into the video or something, like I had already lined like the key stuff. Then I started listening to music, and I would turn it off like here and there because sometimes you have to check things by playing them, and if you have like music go in the background while the audio from this animation is playing, it's like too much noise and you can't focus on anything. So yeah, what else can I talk about? I'm definitely gonna keep on animating more in Opentoonz, and it's like definitely my favorite new software. Like I really want to advertise it more because that was the thing I felt about Krita, and Krita still is a really amazing software. But for longer animations, I don't think it's as usable unless you're like really smart about it. But yeah, I want to like advertise Opentoonz now more, just because of how like really good it is, and I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, and I felt like a lot of people didn't know about Krita like 2 or 3 years ago, which was when, yeah, I think I started using Krita like 3 years ago, because that was like my first semester of college that I was home alone, and just coincidentally I found out that somehow, I can't even remember, that you could import audio into Krita, and I was like, oh, now I'm sold. It's free software and you can like animate with audio in it. Dang, like what more do you want, right? But obviously Opentoonz has like a bunch of stuff that Krita doesn't have in terms of animation. I think Opentoonz is actually a really good drawing program, but it gets a bit laggy when I've tried using their other brushes, so I don't really use it for drawing. The Krita is definitely less laggy, but like on my computer, you still have to kind of draw at a low resolution for it. Otherwise, it'll get a bit of laggy on my potato laptop. So yeah, here, I don't know. Some people do it this way, some people don't, but I was just adding like a thickness to the eyes like after the fact, right? I don't super know why. I think it's just kind of easier because then you don't have to switch your brush back and forth between like a big brush with, a bit more tapering to the thinness and thickness. So I just kept it like, an even line until kind of towards this point, I guess. Although, I still did a few more in-betweens here and there. But yeah, we're like almost done. So really the coloring took me like barely no time at all. Oh, so here's, in like a minute, never mind, you'll see it. So yeah, I used the RGB eyedropper tool here, and because I was a stupid dummy head, and I thought Opentoonz just couldn't color pick from images, but it can. It has 2 separate eyedropper tools. The top one is for only like the color palettes that you see on the right hand side, those style. Oh, and this is my setup for how you select a matte in the effects panel thing. The node editor. I'm pretty sure most software call it a node editor, and like that definitely is a node editor, but I think Opentoonz calls it a effects editor or whatever. I wrote it down. You saw it. If you want to like look it back, if you want to rewind or whatever. But yeah, like, look, it's like looking pretty complete now. I just imported the background. I thought about doing maybe a different background, but I was like, nah, I kind of like it. It's fine. It does its job. And then at the end, I did apply like a gradient, just kind of, you know, composite everything together. I don't know. I kind of like having little soft gradients like that. And I actually didn't even bother applying like an effect to it, because I was thinking of setting the overlay, or setting I can't talk, sorry. The gradient as like an overlay layer, and maybe clipping it together, but I didn't. It's just a normal little bluish gradient. So yeah, this is pretty much how it looks. I kind of like it. It looks kind of cool. I might change a few things before I publicly post it, just to like clean it up, but I thought I might do a little process video for Patreon, and I guess the video's over. So thanks everyone for listening and being a Patreon and all that stuff. Thanks a bunch. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Goodbye. Bye.